Hey Dan K Show fans. Dan K is off this week attending the International Bow Tie Union's benefit dinner. Apparently that takes a week. Well, in any case, I'm here in Dan K Show's Studio B holding down the fort, bringing you this week's episode. Welcome back, folks. Like I said, Dan's not here, so we're changing up the show a little bit. Instead of Dan K's 3 things this week, let's do Lucas J's 1 thing. My 1 thing this week, we're talking about Florida. So let's talk about Florida. We're going to go down to the Florida divisions in the Elite and Premier Leagues, kind of see what those playoff pictures are looking like. Let's start with the Elite. Now, the Tampa Bay Juniors have locked up first place, but just barely in that Florida division with a record of 30-10-2. The Florida Junior Blades are in second with a 27-13-1 rating. Now, the Florida Junior Blades have 3 games this weekend. However, they are mathematically unable to take that first place away from the Juniors. But such a close call at the end of the season really goes to show you how much of a battle is happening down there in the Florida division. Let's move up to the Premier, where things are a little bit more interesting and we have an opportunity for a swing this weekend. Got the Tampa Bay Juniors ahead in first place, 28-13-1, giving them 57 points. Florida Eels at 25-14-2, giving them 52 points. Now, the Tampa Bay Juniors have 2 games against the Racers this weekend, which we'll hear a little bit later about in our interview with Perry Giannino. But Tampa Bay only needs 1 win to lock up this division. The Eels have 3 games left, so they do have an opportunity to move into first place. If Tampa Bay loses 2, and the Florida Eels win all 3, they can move up to first place, but that's a lot of ifs, especially in a division as unpredictable and as high speed as that Florida division. So we're going to have to wait and see. This show comes out on a Thursday. Those games are being played on a Saturday and Sunday, so we will have to wait and see what the outcome is.
The Dan K Show's coming to your town. The Dan K Show, covering everything USPHL from the NCDC, Premier and Elite. The Dan K Show, starring Dan K and Lucas Jones.
Welcome to the Dan K Show interview hot seat. I'm joined by Tampa Bay Juniors goaltender Perry Giannino. Perry, thanks for joining us. Let's dive right in because we are getting close to the playoffs here. So you guys have a 12-game win streak going into your final 2 games of the season. What have you guys been doing in the second half? What's been your focus that's allowed you to do that?
So I think some of the big key components to the way we're playing now during the half of the season is after our winter showcase down in Fort Myers, we kind of left off on a rough foot, and we really did a big regrouping of our mental thoughts, and we had some time off from the game. I know personally for me, I took a lot of time off. I left my gear here in Tampa and went home just to not even worry about hockey. I just wanted to, recoup my thoughts and, see what I did in the first half. What can I change? What can I tweak a little bit and see what that could do for me later on for the rest of the season. And especially with the other boys, they did the same thing. And we came back and we switched some things up and changed some positioning. And we came out stronger than ever. We started out in our showcase in Boston. I believe we did I don't remember what showcase it was. I don't think it was IHC, but we started off in a showcase in Boston. And from there on, we had a pretty good game against IHC, and we held out. It was 2-2. We went to, I think it was like a 5-round shootout, and we held out one of the best teams in the North Division, and we almost won. So I guess, we take that loss and we look at that, and we, instead of holding our heads down, we held them up, and we were really excited for the future, for the rest of the season, of how things were changing. And we came out and we played against the Bruins, and we had our other goalie, a really good friend of mine, Daniel Kortenhouse. He played, and we held out 0-0 all the way to the last 40 seconds or something. We got scored on. It was 1-0. So it was a little bit of a heartbreak, but again, to be playing some of the top teams in the division, which you most likely would play in championships, and hold them that close, it feels really good as a team. So we had a better attitude going into the second half with a better start and with fresh legs and getting a good break. And the energy in the locker and the energy on the road trips now. Everything's different. And I tell you, the atmosphere with our team is definitely a lot different, and especially since it's getting close to playoff time. Coach is getting a little more serious and getting harder on us, but in a positive way, and we're taking that really well.
Now, you've managed, along with your goaltending partner, to hold powerhouse teams like IHC and the Boston Junior Bruins to a very low score this season. So my question is, what's the rapport between you and your goaltending partner like? Is it very close? Is it competitive? What is that partnership like?
Yeah, it's probably the first team I've ever been a part of where I've ever really felt connected to, and it sounds probably funny, but it's the first team I've ever felt connected to my goalie partner and comfortable where we could share everything with each other. And it's definitely different because the partner that I have is younger than me, and he's really talented. And I see a lot of me in him with his mentality of how I was when I was his age. And, we're not that far apart. I'm 20, and he's probably, I think, 2 years younger than me. But we're not too far apart. And I think, he actually just turned 18. So being able to, from the very get-go, and he'll tell you this if you ever meet him, it's really funny. When I first met him, we were doing these skating drills, and he was sitting down on his knees, and I skated up to him, and, he's almost 6 foot or about at 6 foot, and I'm nowhere near that. So I'm 5'6". I skated up to him. I was like, hey, man, you don't want to be sitting down because you're building up lactic acids in your legs, and you're gonna skate slower when you go in because we're doing timed skating. And he looked at me like I'm some ridiculous dude telling him, and he's like, that's the first thing you're gonna say to me? And I was like, hey, I'm just looking out for you. So I think from the very beginning, I've always wanted to kind of, give him some advice and teach him throughout the year. And, honestly, I look at him and I'm taking advice from him. I'm 20 years old. I've been playing since, I was 8, and I'm looking at someone who's younger than me, learning from him. And he's so calm in net, and it's very satisfying to watch, especially if you're into goalies. And he's calm in net. He doesn't freak out much, and his warm-up routine is pretty much, on point every single game. And we have probably the best friendship that you'll ever see two goalies have. We're not, we're competitive in a joking way, but we're not, aggressive competitive, because how some goalies can get when they they think someone's better than the other. But it's not like that here. It's like a family, and it's pretty awesome. We have a goalie coach too. His name is Glenn Murphy, and he's probably the best goalie coach, in my opinion, I think I've seen in the league, and that I've ever had in my life. So, I've only ever had one other goalie coach who is my dad, and he taught me since I was little. And Glenn really, is showing me some things that I've never even noticed. And my dad's a big fan of Glenn. So, with working with Glenn and working with Danny, it's definitely different. And it's probably the coolest relationship, like I said, I've ever had with another goalie. And he's so composed. It's crazy seeing him. But it's very comforting, I think, as a team too. So I live with a teammate that plays with us named Mark Loria. He says it's comforting as well to play in front of the goalie. That is, if we rotate, so that's kind of how our games go. We rotate games, and it's very comfortable playing a goalie in front of a goalie that that'll be there to bail you out if you need to, and it feels nice. And I have fun on the bench, and we all have fun. We cheer, and after games we hug each other, and we go we dance to music in the locker. It's super fun, and it's probably the rarest goalie friendship you'll see in the league.
So this is the last weekend of games before you start the playoffs. What are you guys doing to prepare for this final run towards a championship?
So what we're working on doing right now is just maintaining the fire that we have built up and keep rolling through pretty much consistently. We're trying to stay consistent with our games. Early in the season, if you look at our stats, you could see how we had spikes at some point and we dropped at some point. And a lot of that has to do with, not staying focused. Some injuries happened early in the season, and some situations happened. But what we're focusing on now is trying to keep that intensity up. We're trying to stay crisp. All of our practices are hard, and we're trying to keep them perfect. We go 100% in practice. We want to transfer that onto the ice, and keep that going, because we know no matter what, the stats say, we know every team is coming out to play. And since we're at that number 1 seed, they're all coming out for us. And we're playing Daytona, and they're, I believe they're in last place right now, but they're a great team. And I tell the coach every time we play them, I shake their hand, the coach's hand, and I look at him in the face and I say, you guys deserve way more wins, because they have a great team on their roster, and they have a great goalie and some nice guys on the team, and they work hard, and they play, they put up points too. I mean, I believe they're winning some games now too. So, I mean, it's right there. And, as a team that's on a 12-game win streak, and I don't like talking about it too much because it's kind of like a jinx, I guess. I'm not superstitious, but it could makes me nervous. But as a team that is on a 12-game win streak, we have to come in on this game. We want to come in strong, like we're on. We haven't won a game yet. Like we're down 2 games and we've lost both games. We want to come out with fire in our heart and come out and really take it as if it's a playoff game, because we're treating every game from now on as a playoff game. And especially when we move on, if we do move on, hopefully past playoffs, or even when we move on into playoffs, we're going to come out even harder, and we're going to have a clean slate. We want to come out positive, and we want to come out with the energy going and really stay focused and try and keep the momentum up and try and keep the games similar to how they've been going. And, there are times we fall off where coach will catch us in the middle of the game. We come out a little slow, or we have a few bad shifts. Coach will catch us and really snap us back into it real fast. And we come out and we keep playing the way we do. And really the goal of it is if we're talking technical, we want to stay away from penalties, because that hurts a team. We want to stay away from as many penalties as possible. We want to play a smart game. We don't want to make any stupid passes or anything like that. We want to play a smart game. We want to play a safe game. And we want to just it doesn't have to be pretty, but we want to get the win and get out and continue to work and continue pushing and pushing, because it's a young team. And if you look at us compared to some of those up north teams, we don't really look like a bunch of all-stars, but when we play with fire in our heart. We come out and we really push it. So that's the main goal for us, is to come out staying consistent as possible and try and keep the games as close as possible as they've been, and really just try and come out consistent, like I've been saying. So that's one of our main goals that we've been working on in practice, in the locker room as a team, and especially every single game we play.
Perry, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate it a lot, man. I have to say something real quick. Daniel Kortenhouse, my goalie partner, a good friend, he has something to tell you guys. He says he's the real Dan K. He says you guys got to watch out, because he's going to trademark his name and he's going to keep it. He's the real Dan K show when he plays. Daniel Kortenhouse, man, don't forget it.
Well, I'll make sure to pass that along to Dan. Thanks again for taking the time with us.
That was a great interview with Perry Giannino, goaltender of the Tampa Bay Juniors. Had a great time talking to him on the phone about his season and their upcoming big game weekend against the Daytona Racers, which of course will determine their seeding in the playoffs. Next up, we've got a video from the Florida Junior Blades about their encounter with some Team USA hockey players.
There's a reason why those guys are playing in the Olympics, and it's been great for guys to see how hard they work, and they just set a really good example. It's been great for them to see that, and it just elevates their gameplay in practice too, and gets them really excited. We've really seen a big difference in how our guys are handling the compete level in practice and their workouts and everything like that, just because of seeing how these guys work.
It's exciting. I've been training here for 2 summers now, and it's just nice to be back before we head over to Olympics, so it'll be fun. The guys here are great. They coach the junior team as well, and they really know what they're doing, and I love coming back down here. It's great. It's great to see how hockey's grown in America. When I was younger playing junior hockey, there was no hockey down in Florida. And to see it down here at such a high level, it's great for the game.
I think they work on fundamentals, which is important for any hockey player. So at this age, the coaching staff does a really good job of focusing on fundamentals and something any hockey player can rely on during the year, regardless how far you get in your pro career. We were in Helsinki, Finland for most of the year this year. Not a whole lot of sunlight, so it's great to get back to Florida, see the sun a little bit, and then get on the ice with these guys. I think the same thing I was saying earlier, the excitement that these guys bring on a daily basis, I think it's contagious, and it's good for Matt and I to see before we go to the Olympics.
Well, folks, this week's Empty Net is going to be brief, and by brief, I mean because we had so many teams reaching out to us on Twitter, so many coaches and parents reaching out to us on Facebook. We love to hear from you, and we love that teams are tagging us in your game updates. I gotta be honest, as a person who loves to dive into statistics, I love getting tagged when you guys win games, lose games, when your players have big games, because it helps us get a better picture of what's going on in the USPHL. So keep tagging us at @the_Dan K Show. Keep tweeting at us, keep letting us know, and remember, playoffs are right around the corner, and you'll be seeing Dan and I at the South Shore Kings Showcase at the Foxborough Sports Center this weekend. We're going to be on the call for some games. We're going to get that list and put that out on Twitter. We're excited to see all of you there. If you see us, stop us and say hi.